Hey everyone, Jeff Johnson from the Gazette here, the Prep Huddle podcast with my cohorts and friends KJ Pilcher and Jeff Linder, Nathan Ford doing his producing thing, and of course Hercules watching over all of us just to make sure that we don't let any four-letter words fly or anything like that. So, boys, how's it going?
Good.
It feels like football.
Yeah, it sure does. All of a sudden. So I think we'll have a good Friday night. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast, although I haven't checked too closely. But
I'll check right now.
it's been a pretty good season that way so far. And
Just
I know,
you
right?
just jinxed us.
I know. It's like, you know,
It's 41.
it's like saying, you know, baseball games going really fast, right? So
Yeah, right.
But anyway, we are halfway home. Can you believe it, in the regular season? And you know, district play now is upon us, I think, in every class, right? You know, going into Friday night. So this is when the stuff hits the fan, right, boys? This is the best part of the season coming up right now, right?
Yeah, after this week, there will only be 3 weeks left for everybody 2A and down.
Wow. Unbelievable.
What was the line that you always quote Dale Jones on, Lindy?
That's the 9 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
That is very true. Very true.
Of the year. I guess it is the season. Fastest 9 weeks of the year.
Let's kind of look back a little bit, maybe first here on what happened in week 4. Of course, we did have forfeit. Cedar Rapids Jefferson was forced to forfeit to Cedar Rapids Kennedy because of a lack of numbers. Jayhawks are going to give it a go Friday night. It's homecoming, which you know, sure put a little bit more pressure on being able to actually have a game, but they are going to play against Lindmar. At least that's the plan as of right now, on Thursday at 1:06 p.m. So that's a good thing. I believe we do have it at forfeit already. Cedar Rapids Prairie, correct, guys, is not going to have its game against the Tumwa because of I guess COVID issues and injury issues that have hit the Tumwa offensive line. Especially,
really?
That's I guess that's kind of what I read. I think it was in the Ottumwa Courier, actually. So give credit to them for that. But that is kind of the deal. No, Ottumwa Prairie this week, which is, you know, certainly unfortunate. And I believe Jefferson's supposed to play Ottumwa next week, right?
That's next week.
Yes, the following week.
Yeah. So hopefully, you know, they'll be able to get all their stuff kind of figured out, and kids get back healthy, and they can play against each other next week. So your games last Friday night, why don't you I guess talk a little bit about what you saw, boys, if you don't mind, and whoever wants to go first with that.
KJ, go ahead. You had the better game.
Yeah, I had North Scott at Xavier. North Scott came away with a 20-8 victory, and I tell you what, North Scott is very good. You know, they offensively, especially passing, not necessarily something I've associated with North Scott over the last few years, more of a run style offense, a physical offense, but you know, they throw the ball well. Grayson Jewell has a lot of targets. Obviously, Oliver Hughes, Jacob Nelson, Miles Robertson, among those. He's got a really good core of receivers, and he was able to throw the ball around when they decided to. You know, they threw a lot with the wind at their back, and then relied on Darnell Butler to run the ball, and he actually had a decent game against, you know, a good Xavier defense. But I think what we saw is that North Scott's defense is just phenomenal, and they really held Xavier in check. Alex Neal ended up passing for more yards than Jewell. I think he had like 230 32. Jewel had 213, but a lot of that came late in the game. You know, credit Xavier, they didn't give up. They kept pushing the, kept trying to push for a score. But North Scott's defense held tight. They even turned the ball over on their own side of the field a couple times. One, an interception by Aiden McDermott. Another one was a turnover on downs or a short punt. And all they got out of it were 2 field goal attempts. And Tristan Vasquez made one from, I think, 33. He had a first half field goal from 42. And I think his 43-yard attempt in the third quarter hit about 3/4 of the way up the right upright. So had plenty of distance. But North Scott, really, really good. Xavier is close, but it's one of those things where they're just maybe a step below, a step or two below North Scott right now. Of course, Xavier was without their top tackler, Thomas Sindel, too, but I don't think that would have made the difference with the way they were able to get the scores when needed and the way the defense, North Scott defense, kept them out of the end zone.
Lindy, you had Linn-Mar, which apparently is a pretty impressive football team, huh?
Yeah, very opportunistic. Through 4 games, they've got 17 takeaways. So that says a lot. I mean, more than 4 turnovers a game they're forcing. They're 4-0. Their defense, which is something that really has been lacking at Linn-Mar for the better part of, a long time, is there. They've got some teeth defensively. And until the last possession of the game, Washington was under 0 yards of total offense. So, I think Linn-Mar's pretty good. I think they're still, I still had to say right now, I think they're looking at a 7-2 season. And hey, after 1-5, that's super. And Tim Lovell's done a really good job. So offensively, they relied on some big plays instead of, nice, methodical, consistent drives. But hey, whatever floats your boat and whatever works. So very impressed with Linn-Mar. And they're supposed to play Jefferson this week. So whether they do or not, they're probably going to be 5-0 here in a couple days. And who'd have thought that?
And then the other question mark team, I guess, if you want to phrase it that way, was Iowa City High. And it appears that the Little Hawks are not really a question mark anymore. 21-17 win over West Des Moines Dowling last Friday night at Bates Field on the old flea flicker with a minute left, boys. Man, the last 2 weeks I have seen 2 of the most beautiful, successful trick plays that have worked in the last minute of a game. I mean, unbelievable. So Little Hawks, they played really good defense, held Dowling in check. Dowling really doesn't have much of a passing attack with, it's top QB out of commission with a broken collarbone. So that kind of limits the Maroons a little bit, but just a tremendous game all around, and City High finds a way to get it done. And Dowling is 1-3, boys. How about that?
Is their quarterback supposed to be back before the end of the year?
I'm not 100% sure on that, but watching him in warmups try and help out with participation, retrieving footballs and things like that, he could barely move his arm. So that doesn't bode well in my case, I guess. Just a guess, but they'll be there at the end. I mean, geez, they always are, right? So
they got to make it to the playoffs first, and I'm just looking at their schedule. What do they have left?
I think Valley and
Council Bluffs, Lincoln, Johnston, Ames, Valley, and Waukee. So
they should
probably 5-4 at worst, I guess. And if that's the case, they probably get in. Yeah.
So, I mean, for City High, it was just a big moment. I think Ben Kueter said it best, we're back, or something to that effect, the all outstanding all around football player for City High, and he committed to Iowa this week. KJ, you know him real well on the wrestling mat. He's going to try that football wrestling combination, and man, that's going to be tough, right?
Yeah, when he made his commitment, the first thing a lot of people were looking towards who was the last one to do it for Iowa. And I think on a consistent basis or a full contributor type basis, I think maybe John Ostendorf is the last one to really do it. Jordan McLaughlin, around 2007, he was out for the football team. I think Iowa was short in the upper weights. He came out. He was a wrestler, I think, from Belmont Clemmy, if I remember right. So he lettered in wrestling in 2007, and then in the fall of 2007, lettered for football. But I don't think he lettered in simultaneous academic years, if that makes sense. But I point to Fresno State's Josh Hockett. Josh Hockett was a fullback for their football team. He was also an All-American at 197 for the wrestling team. Troy Steiner was the coach, former Hawkeye. I think Hockett might have gotten invited to a 49ers camp, but didn't stick with the team. So it can be done. I mean, you've got some examples that it can be done, but boy, at that level, given what the demands are, it's going to be really tough. But you heard what Corey Connell said. He loves challenges, and he seems to be full steam ahead on contributing to both. He's an exceptional wrestler and a very good football player.
What weight does he wrestle at in high school? And where do you see him wrestle? Where do you see him in college as well?
He's ranked at 220 this year in the preseason rankings nationally. He won titles at 160 as a freshman and 195. He's got a very big frame, so he's going to be a heavyweight. I bet he'll be a heavyweight by the time he's out of high school, unless he feels like he wants to cut down to 220. I think he's projected as being a linebacker. So I could see him being an outside linebacker, D-end, heavyweight type mix.
Well, best of luck to him, and even if it ends up just being one sport that he wants to concentrate on, so be it. He's and I think he's a real good baseball player, right, Pilch? And he also does track and field as well. So, multi-sport athletes, man, I tip my bald head to you. It's great.
It was kind of interesting this summer. I covered, I think it was City High Waller. This year it's Friday night, and he was raking the field after the game, and I just said in passing while I was walking by, when do you head to Fargo for junior nationals? And he goes, tomorrow morning. So he was doing, he was playing Friday night, then he was heading up to, freestyle, where I believe he was a national runner-up. I'd have to look that up again, but I think he was a national runner-up in freestyle. And then he comes back the next week and right back in line up for the Little Hawks when he got back into town. So he definitely is willing to burn the candle at both ends to do what he likes.
So yeah, I mean, it's great. Good luck, Ben. You seem like a real good kid from my one interaction with you the other night. KJ, I think has said real good things about you as well. So best of luck with that. And City High, as we said, boys, looks like it's a legit team here moving forward as we head into district play. So let's look at some of the scores real quick. We'll kind of run through. Week 4, KJ mentioned the 20-8 North Scott win over Xavier. We all predicted Williamsburg was going to get its first win, and it did, 62-0 over Central Lee. Western Dubuque boys, 65-35 over Dubuque Hempstead, put up 600 yards of offense against a 5A team. KJ, you saw Western Dubuque, right? In the first week of the season?
Yeah. Yep. I did. And that was against Xavier. And, they showed flashes of being able to throw the ball really well. I think it's Jack Clemens.
Yeah.
The quarterback can air it out a little bit, and I'm blanking on the name of the wide receiver. I know he connected on a 73-yard touchdown pass to him in that game, but they have the ability to kind of air it out. Defensively they're decent, but offensively, I think they struggled running the ball against Xavier a little bit, but boy, they had instances where they threw the ball well, and it looks like they showed some of that against Hempstead too.
Another big game, a couple of big games here back to back. We'll talk a little bit about West Delaware with a real nice win, 14-6 over Waverly Shell Rock. Waverly had been playing as well as anyone coming into this game, and West Delaware goes up to Waverly and gets a win. Pretty significant one too, interclass, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are we looking at? 2-3 weeks away from the big West Delaware Independence Showdown?
Yeah. So, West Delaware lost earlier in the season, and obviously has rebounded real well since. Really good football team, two really good football teams here. Walk-On looks like it definitely is back on track, beats previously undefeated North Fayette Valley 48-21, and that's another team, right? Stumbled early, but thumped Decorah pretty good, and now beats a real good NFV team. What do you see maybe from the Indians other than starting to put it all together again?
I think that's a team that's pretty dangerous coming down the stretch here. My guess is that they're going to avoid that glut of really good teams from Northwest Iowa in the playoffs. So I would say that's a team that has a chance. And I think you can say the same thing about Williamsburg to maybe make it to the Dome.
Yeah. Independence struggled to beat Vinton Schellsburg, but did 20-13. Just saw on Twitter that Tono Cornell, who is, I believe, a sophomore, offensive lineman, highly touted, is taking a game day visit to Iowa on Saturday for their game against Colorado State. So seems like his recruiting is starting to perk up a little bit. Big offensive lineman. So a little bit of breaking news, so to speak, there. Other scores: Benton Community over South Tama 33-14. We had Owine defeating Jessup 42-20. Barn Burner, Clear Creek, and Manna continues to play exciting games that come right down to the last second. Beats Iowa City Liberty 31-30. Dubuque Wallard over LaPorte City Union 24-7. It's just strange to think that those two teams would play each other, just from a geographical standpoint. Decorah over Charles City 35-6. Another good win for Eastern Iowa. Cedar Falls defeats Ankeny Centennial in that Eastern Central Iowa matchup 28-14. Mount Vernon 33-14 over Center Point Urbana. Marion gets its first win over previously undefeated DeWitt Central 20-7. So big win there for the Wolves. I'm still trying to get used to saying that. Elsewhere was Cedar Rapids Prairie beating Bettendorf 54-20. Scrolling up and down here. Turkey Valley over Riceville 44-8. Just kind of hit and miss on some of these. Sumner Fredericksburg over Postville 75-0. Northland continues to roll 47-0 over Clayton Ridge. South Winneshiek edges Starmont 34-26. North Tama continues to be unbeaten, beats Nashua Plainfield 50-22. Iowa City Regina with a big 34-0 win over Mediapolis. I don't think any of us thought that it would be that big of a spread, right? 34-0.
I didn't think it'd be that
Right.
bad.
With both of them being unbeaten and Mediapolis having such a good team that went all the way to, I think, the quarterfinals against Sigourney Kueter. Thought it might be a little more competitive, but boy, I tell you what, Regina seems to have reloaded. I know they've got. I know they're really excited about their offensive and defensive fronts, and we all know that if you have the guys up front blocking and being able to stuff the run, things can fill in with the skilled players, and that might be kind of the key to their success so far.
8-man Easton Valley continues to roll 67-12 over Springville. Highland over North Cedar 33-13. Dyersville Beckman continues to be very impressive. 38-7 victory over a pretty decent Cascade team. Bellevue shuts out Maquoketa Valley 28-0. West Liberty and Comanche wins that one 44-36. Edgewood Colesburg 44-16 over Elkader Central. In another good tight ball game that we knew would be that way, Waterloo Columbus edges MFL Marmac, giving MMM its first loss of the season by the score of 16-14. And then Jeff, you want to talk about some of the things we knew that out in Western Iowa we would have some real good matchups, and West Lyon beat Central Lyon, and Battle Creek Ida Grove, Odobold Arthur loses as well its first game. So a little bit of clarity out there with all that strong football.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure there's any more clarity yet. I think we just know there's about 6 or 7 good teams in those 2 districts. Team that maybe we've been overlooking a little bit might be Unity Christian. They're in there with both the Lyon County schools, and then we got the district with Southeast Valley and Spirit Lake. They still have to play each other. OABCIG, Pokey's in with that, Clarion Goldfield. So I don't think we've really got a whole lot figured out yet. We will.
It seems like
at the beginning of the year, who would have thought both Dowling and Central Lyon would be 1-3 at this point?
Not me. And, I tell you, I still think Central Lyon could be a factor in 1A or 2A. I'm sorry, provided they make it to the playoffs. They're sitting 1-3 right now, but I still think they're a really dangerous team, and I think everybody else agrees because their consensus is still a top 10 team in Class 2A.
How do you guys sort out what's going on in 5A, where it seems like we saw a top ranked team, Southeast Polk, go down to Ankeny? It just seems like again those suburban Des Moines schools just keep knocking each other off. I mean, can we make any sense out of that? And do you feel like the gap maybe this season between Central Iowa and Eastern Iowa has closed at all at the biggest school level?
I'm not sure. City High beating Dowling is a very good sign for Eastern Iowa. Cedar Falls beating Centennial, that's a good sign as well. Waiting to see, does Kennedy have a crossover game with anybody?
No.
So I don't know how Kennedy, which I think we probably all agree is the best team on paper right now in Eastern Iowa, how well they stack up against the powers out there. We won't know that until probably the semifinals if they get that far. So still some unsurety, if that's a word, on how the teams over here rank against the teams over there. I think that there's some really good teams in Central Iowa, and I think there's definitely more depth over there.
One thing to remember. Go ahead, JJ.
No, I was just going to point out real quick. Kennedy does play Johnston in the
Okay.
penultimate game of the regular season here at Kingston Stadium. So
Okay.
clarify that. Go ahead, KJ.
Well, I was just going to say one thing to keep in mind with Southeast Polk's loss is they're without their, all-state wide receiver. I don't want to butcher his last name, but he didn't play in that loss, and he's a difference maker. We've seen that already this season with his what he's been able to do. I think he had the last second catch to win the opener. Xavier, is it Wampa?
Yeah, Xavier in the Wankpa. Yeah, that's a hard name to say, man.
Yeah. So I don't believe he played this week. So that take that with a grain of salt. But I think Lindy's right. We probably won't know a ton until we do see Kennedy with a crossover. And so far, what Cedar Falls has done, I think they're 1-1 against teams from over there. City High with the win over Dowling. And, let's face it, with, the Waukee school splitting, with the Ankeny schools that have split, and now Waukee, it's going to not necessarily water down, but, it's going to spread around that talent a little bit. I think that'll help Eastern schools as well.
If you had to pick right now, who would you say the favorite to win 5A is?
I still got to go with Southeast Polk, boys.
I agree.
I do too. I still not sure we should count out Ankeny. I know they had their loss was a little bit of a head scratcher, but I think they're right there again.
I'm going to throw Cedar Rapids Prairie in that mix too, guys. I know it. You had that loss a couple of weeks ago to Cedar Falls, but again, that came primarily on a trick play at the very end of the game, and Prairie was without starters as we've talked about ad nauseum. So I'm looking forward to that game October 8th against Southeast Polk over there on the far southwest side of Cedar Rapids. That's coming up, and I think that'll tell a lot to me as far as is Eastern Iowa perhaps this season kind of closing that gap in 5A. So
we talked as you started. Let's say Kennedy, City High, and Linn-Mar, none of them play each other, right?
correct.
So Linn-Mar still has to play Southeast Polk, right?
I'll double check on that, but yeah, keep going with your point here.
Well, I guess that. Well, let's say Kennedy and City High then. Let's say they both go undefeated. Is that reasonable? Let's take a look here. City High you could probably say is favored in all of its remaining games. Kennedy, same if it can get past Cedar Falls and Johnston. So let's say Kennedy and City High are 9-0, and they would possibly be 1-2 in the RPI. So those two teams, a lot of the pretty good Central Iowa teams would be coming over here. The road to the Dome for some of those teams, maybe not for a Southeast Polk or an Ankeny, but maybe for a Valley or an Urbandale or a Centennial or maybe even a Dowling, their road to the Dome might go through Eastern Iowa.
Wouldn't that be something? Linn-Mar still has to play Southeast Polk and Prairie in district play. So
Okay.
We'll see how that works out, but yeah, I guess we'll find out. But to me, it just and I'm sure Southeast Polk is a much better football team with Nawakpa there. I mean, what is he, a 5-star recruit, 4-star recruit, being with offers from everybody? So there you go. And we'll see if Dowling's quarterback comes back or not. But yeah, to me, it's, maybe, just maybe there's a glimmer of hope that, somebody from over here can legit compete for a big school state title. So that would be nice. That would be real nice. So shall we go through real quick here, go through the schedule for this week, I guess?
Yeah, let's just kind of hit the high points for this week.
Yeah, we do have a game Thursday night at Kingston Stadium, Cedar Rapids Kennedy and Dubuque Senior. Kennedy, a pretty prohibitive favorite there. Is that fair to say?
I would think so.
So, but Senior quietly is 3-1, and the one loss is to Prairie, and that was 28-14. So, they must not be too bad.
Had a really good. They were a good team last season. With Hempstead, both were good. Were good quality programs, and Senior has the kid playing quarterback for him. That's real good. Jack Gilligan. So, I certainly you'd have to think Kennedy would be favorite, but maybe not by a huge amount. So that could be an interesting game, I guess, as Jeff pointed out. Thursday night at Kingston Stadium. All right, I'm just going to scroll through and hit some of the high points, as Jeff said here, for this week's games around the area. We got to get North Cedar in there, always do. Against Bellevue this week, Waterloo, Columbus, and Cascade. This is really exciting podcasting, isn't it, guys?
I've got a few games I have written down that I've marked down for my capsules.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Oskaloosa, Clear Creek, Amana. Oskaloosa's, 4-0. I don't know if they're a great 4-0, but it's still 4-0. Clear Creek, Amana, 3-1, and like you said, they've got two really good, neat, fun comeback wins, dramatic wins under their belts. Mount Vernon, Benton Community, both 3-1. I think you're going to be there, right, KJ, at Van Horn?
Yep, I'll be there. Benton Community's won 3 straight. Both teams are 3-1, like you said. Mount Vernon's only loss was 41-27 to Sutherland. Benton Community lost its opener to Grinnell. Shout out to the Nathan Ford. And, like I said, 3-game winning streak there at Benton. Benton's homecoming, so it should be a fun contest Friday at Van Horn.
Okay. Got marked down West Branch at Mediapolis, both 3-1. Sigourney, Kueter, Pella Christian, a pair of unbeatens in Class 1A. They're both 4-0. Turkey Valley and Janesville, a couple of unbeatens and 8-player. And those are the 4 or 5 games I've got marked as 4-star, 5-star games.
I've got St. Ansgar, North Tama, I think will be really interesting, Lindy. I'm going to throw that one out there for you. Xavier and Washington, I guess that's where I'll be with a bunch of radio folks again, probably some TV folks as well out there at Xavier.
You just get all the luck when it comes to that situation, don't you?
But I throw KJ Pilcher's name around at Xavier, and they just all, it's like, what would you like?
Let you on campus.
We have the boot this weekend too, guys, or Friday night as well. Weston City High.
That's where I'll be at Bates Field, and the City High have a little bit of a letdown. I mean, you sure don't think you'd be overlooking West, but they're coming off a big one and probably have their heads in the clouds a little bit. And, they're going to have to get back down to earth fast because, West has been there. West has been the better team down there the last few years.
I thought KJ had a real good question. We'll bring this up real quick on the 4 down segment we did the other day about traditional powers. You know, Dowling's 1-3. What's Bettendorf? Also 1-3, correct? And Iowa City West is also 1-3. And if there was any sort of commonality between it, what did you guys say?
Go ahead,
I don't
Andy.
remember. and Dowling are really having a lot of trouble scoring. And you know, we've talked about the Dowling quarterback injury. You know, West is they're still just a few years away from the split with Liberty. I know Liberty's 0-4, but you know, there's still some kids there that would have given West some more depth and maybe some starters that aren't there anymore. So, you know, I think that can't help a ton. So, you know, you guys would probably have a better answer for that than I do.
You know, I think you have to look, you know, sure there are some, you know, the pool of teams has kind of changed a little bit, you know, some of those teams dropping down to 4A. But these things are cyclical. Excuse me. But these things are cyclical. You just normally don't associate it with those programs. But you know, if you look, obviously injuries have played a part in Dowling's start. I'm not sure about West or Bettendorf. You got to look at some of the talent that West graduated last year, especially with Marcus Morgan. You know, and now they're going to a freshman quarterback, which at the 5A level, very rare, and that will lead to some growing pains. But one of the things that really kind of stands out to me and seems odd, maybe not for Iowa City West, but especially the other two programs, if you look at where they rank rushing in 5A, Iowa City West is actually the best of the three, but they rank 15th. Bettendorf is 25th, which is mind-blowing given how they've run the ball, you know, year in and year out. And then Dowling is 29th. And was there how many 5A teams?
36.
See, so I think that says a lot and really kind of feeds that old, you know, adage that you know, run games and defense are the best way to win games and championships, and it certainly kind of looks that way now. And one other thing that I pointed out to was their strength of schedule, where Dowling and Bettendorf opponents are 21-15 overall, and Iowa City West is 20-16. So it's not like they're playing the, you know, tomato cans, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? So I think those things may play into it a little bit as well.
Well, guys, anything else anybody wants to add before we wrap this up? Quick, Green Gazette, look at it. It's great. We'll have all the game stories from Friday night there. You know, our crew does a great job putting that together. Nathan Ford's Friday night review on the Gazette.com. He does an unbelievable job as well. Anything else anybody else wants to bring up?
Yeah, I just want to mention that we really have focused on trying to get some element of prep football, prep sports in the paper and online every day of the week. You can check out Linder's RPI rankings and, of course, our staff all class rankings or top 10s on Monday that Lindy puts out. 4 downs will be posted on Tuesdays. JJ, you've got JJ and Linder both have features coming up, you know, this week, as well as all our game coverage on Thursday and Friday. I'll be at Kingston on Thursday and Benton Community on Friday. You can follow me at KJ Pilcher, but check out all of our stuff at thegazette.com and Iowa Prep Sports.
Great.
So we do
Couldn't have
once
said
in a
it
while.
better. Couldn't have said it better. Jeff, you're doing a feature. What's your feature, I guess, this week? Let
I've
everybody.
got the early Friday, Saturday feature for on Ben Kueter.
Okay, very good. That'll be well read, and I'm going to run out to Kennedy practice this afternoon and catch up with Carson Blitz, who's been a difference maker at quarterback for a good football team in Kennedy. So that'll be stuff that you can get in the paper and on the GazetteOnline.com. So, guys, thanks very much. Nathan, thank you very much. Another edition of the Prep Huddle is in the can and soon to be on air. Thanks, KJ. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you,
Enjoy
JJ.
the football Friday night, everybody, and we will talk to you next week.